Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to GarageBand Weekly here on Studio Live today for another week. In this episode, we're going to be remixing a song from my past called For the Birds. So I hope you're ready for GarageBand Weekly. Let's do it. Yes, it is that time of the week, time for GarageBand Weekly, and we will be diving into that track in just a little while. But firstly, we got some news and notes to catch up on. I've got a few little tips and tidbits and all that kind of jazz, so I hope you are doing well. If you're here live and you got any questions, we are live and interactive, more than happy to answer any GarageBand related questions. All you need to do is put the word question or a big Q in front of your question. Be happy to answer that. And we do have some wonderful live folks here ready to rock and roll already, so I hope you are all doing well. G'day Joe and Barry Glenn. G'day to Phil. Hello Thomas Christ, Mr. Mark Bro, Gregory O'Sullivan. And if you are joining us here, say hello, say good day to all the cool folks that are here enjoying a little bit of garage bandery. So the plan of today is, as we say, we'll jump into the news and notes, and then I'm going to play about a 10-minute clip to give you the backstory, because I could explain it all to you, but it's going to be easy to show you the video. But I'll give you the 10-second version here. March 2018, I decided to do a song in a month challenge. It is what then created the song timber that we then did through the last sort of 3 years. But it was the first time I'd tried to do a whole song in a month. And we did it in GarageBand, iOS. As it turns out, I was looking back at the footage. It was like on my iPhone 6S Plus is where I created most of this, which is kind of wacky when you think back to that. But yeah, what I thought I'd do is look back at how I recorded it. So we'll look at the little bit of footage there. We'll then dump into the project and see what I did then. Then we'll have a bit of a play, and I'll show some things like, are there things I would do differently today? What have I learned over the last 4.5 years about creating in GarageBand? Because guess what? GarageBand ain't changed a whole lot, as you'll see when we jump into this. And I know some of you were around in March of 2018, but the vast majority of folks weren't around that long. So yeah, there should be some interesting stuff going on there. G'day to other folks here. Giggly. Hello to you. G'day Psycho7. We've got a first questions dropped on here, which is from Elamaj, who says, can you add halftime in GarageBand? Kind of. Yeah, so I'll try to cover that. I'll star that, and we'll come back to that in the Q&A as we do that later in the show. G'day John Frank Songs as well. Yeah, short version is yes, you can. In drummer, there is one snare and kick pattern that is halftime, and there's one that's double time. And the easiest way, if you're doing manual drums or you're doing things you want a halftime thing, just basically turn your 4/4 into 2/4. And you can do the same for double time. Turn your 4/4 into 8/8 or 8/4, and you can do that. So as long as you're on the grid, the hard thing is when you want to do things like 3/4 to 5/4 to 4/4, which I did in one song, which is a different story altogether. It is a lot more challenging to go along those lines. So news and notes. Before we get started here, I better bring up my news and notes. I'm not super prepared for that, am I? You'd think I'd be better. I should be a seasoned veteran by now with this stuff and have everything ready to go. But full disclosure, I had a Patreon video just before this one for my $10 and up patrons. So shout out to them if you want to support me on Patreon and get some of the behind the scenes stuff. We go a bit deeper into some things. You can do that studiolivetoday.com/Patreon. You can do it over there. But yeah, news and notes. So it was quarterly earnings report. Now, is this that relevant for people in GarageBand? Not really, but it's kind of interesting for those that are dabbling in music. And I did, there was a lot of different stuff, like Amazon made all the money. A lot of, who was it, Meta, Facebook, had a challenging time of it. Apple, which is, obviously who makes the gear that we use and who makes GarageBand, just chalked up a cool $83 billion, which is a record for a third quarter earnings, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. But weirdly, yeah, everyone was happy, and it was around about what they predicted, but they alluded to it, and what did they say? It was the CFO or whatever the person was for Apple said it's a cocktail of headwinds that they're running into. So they're clearly trying to tell people that things are going to be challenging for them. What does that mean for you as a creator? Well, it means things like supply chain at the moment. If you've tried to get yourself one of the new Macs, you will know that you've got a 2 to 3 month lead time at the moment. Hasn't affected iPhones yet, but there are concerns around the new iPhone that's going to be coming out. Obviously, the iPhone 14 will almost definitely be announced in September. There could be challenges getting all the chips in place for the new iPhone. So it's something to keep in mind if you're looking for that. And iPads as well. The production of iPads has been pretty good so far because Apple have their silicon and a lot of their newer iPads use the M1 chip, which is their own custom silicon. Then they're able to produce those. But some of the other components, as you know, if you've been following anything, if you're living in the world at the moment, you know that supply chains are a challenge, and it's been challenging for many companies because of that. Not as bad as for people like Intel. I think Intel lost about 10% off their share price. They had a shocking quarter comparatively because, again, probably not only because of, but because Apple don't use Intel chips anymore. They use their own silicon, and that's going to have a significant flow-on effect. The other one I thought was interesting for music creators is Spotify. They recorded a $197 million loss. Now, Spotify basically haven't been a profitable company very much at all. Like they are the number one music streaming platform, but they have done that through spending a lot of money. Now you might be thinking, hang on, I released my GarageBand recordings and Spotify paid me like 4 cents for 1 billion streams. How could they possibly not be making money? Well, basically, the publishers and the record companies are the ones that make all the money. The independent artist, oh no, get out your violins for Spotify, for millionaires that are, oh no, you're making a loss. But yeah, the reason that they're number one is that they're just throwing money at it. And interestingly, they're different to like your Apples and your Amazons and other companies, because Apple and Amazon and Google, so YouTube Music, Amazon Prime Music, and Apple Music, that's just a little tiny chunk of all those businesses. Spotify, it's everything. So if you've been keeping an eye on Spotify lately, you'll realize that they're getting heavily into podcasts. They're starting to get into audiobooks. They're getting into other spoken word type content. They're basically trying to build a content library of things that are not music. Why? Because the music publishers and the record companies continue to squeeze and try and screw down as hard as they can. So they want to own some of the stuff. They can't just keep, every time Katy Perry puts out a new album, Spotify aren't the ones making all the coin. Katy Perry's making a little bit, but only because she's super famous. But yeah, it's the publishing companies and the record companies that are making all the coin when it comes to music. So it's just interesting. It's interesting to watch this stuff. I know not everyone's going to be a bit of a finance nerd like me. You don't have to care about this stuff, which is why I just spent 3 minutes telling you about it, rather than you have to go and do all the looking yourself. Yeah, that's because they privatize the gains and socialize the losses. Yeah, exactly right. Basically, yeah, exactly. That's kind of how it goes, unfortunately. And it's one of those things. Like, I remember when NFTs and crypto. And look, I know, I don't want to punch down on NFTs and crypto because they're having a hard time of it at the moment. But the challenge is when things start going good, everyone thinks that growth is just going to be this straight line. It's a freaking roller coaster, folks. So, yeah, when you're doing really well, it's not like it's just going to keep going forever. It's like bubbles can burst. Yeah, they have done it over and over again. 2000, 2008, and now 2022. And yeah, every time there's all these people that are riding this wave. So yeah, I feel bad for the TikTok stars with 10 billion subscribers and followers. That yeah, now that the gravy train's been pulled back, they're like, but where do I park my private jet now? And how? What? I only can have 2 Lambos? Unacceptable. Yeah. All right. Yeah, music biz is fun. Ha ha ha. Which is why we do it for fun. Which is why music should be fun. And I talk about this just to set realistic expectations. But really, at the end of the day, can we do much about it as individuals? No, except that we live in the future. And we're not sponsored by DistroKid today, but you hear me rant about DistroKid. You hear me talk about BandLab. These are the platforms, GarageBand. These are the platforms that are democratizing music production, creation, and releasing of music, because you can get yourself out there. And you know what? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So that's why I highly recommend getting your stuff out there. Let's talk. Now, we haven't done sort of plugins and apps and gear of the week for a while, but I wanted to talk to something. And yes, I do have a gear guide over at studiolivetoday.com/gear. Yes, I do encourage you to use the affiliate links because you do support the channel, because they break off a small chunk and send it to me if you use that link over at the gear guide. I haven't added this one to the gear guide yet because it's fresh off the Amazon truck, but I've been using these ROMOSS portable chargers forever, and I got the big chunky monkey. I got the 40,000 milliwatt hour version. So this is my new traveling companion. So this will be charged up, and this is what goes with me everywhere. The reason I needed this, and I currently have a 20,000 and a 10,000. I wanted the 40,000 because this thing's got USB-C as well as 2 USB-A ports. And I don't know about you, but I have so much stuff with me. When I'm out and about and I want to be creative, or I'm traveling and I don't have access to power, I want it all. I want it all, and I want it now. So for this, what this is going to allow me to do is to plug in and charge my iPad via USB-C, because my iPad Pro uses USB-C. I can then keep my iPhone and my iPod Touch on charge using the other 2 USB ports, or if I need to charge up things like AirPods, things like Bluetooth speakers, other things like that. So just having more flexibility. And the good thing about these ROMOSS is that they've charged by micro USB, but the USB-C port is two-way. So it is switchable, which means that you can charge this via USB-C for faster charging, and then you can use it to charge USB devices. So it just makes it super, super handy, because it means that wherever you go, if there's any USB-C or micro USB port to a power, you can charge it up. And then when you want to use it, you've got 2 USB-A ports and a USB-C port. So again, I know I'm keeping it really exciting today, aren't I? We talked about financial reports, and now we're talking about batteries. We will actually get into some music in a moment, I promise you. In fact, my tip of the week this week is about version control in GarageBand. So before we get in and start fiddling about with this project, what we need to do is use some version control. Now, I've talked about this before, but I thought I'd throw it out here again. GarageBand has bad version control. So it doesn't do it for you. A lot of other apps like BandLab and Logic and even GarageBand Mac have better version control. GarageBand iOS, not good. So what do I recommend? Well, when you're creating a new song, so let's go back to, say, my Songtember song. What you can see here, when we did work in progress, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So every time you make a change to a project, here's the deal. If you've done more than about an hour's worth of work on a project, tap on it, and this is for GarageBand iOS, tap on it there and hit the duplicate button. It'll just create a new version with a new number, leave the old version alone, work on the new version. When you're ready to go to your next one, tap and hold on that one, hit the duplicate button and do it again. Why? Because so many times people have deleted tracks, they've changed recordings, they've done things, and they've gone, that sounds terrible. I wish, if only I could go back to an older version. And what this does is it gives you a bunch of versions. Yeah, it does take up a bit more space because you have to have space to have all the versions. But once you get sort of comfortable here, like if I didn't have enough space, I'd just go back and start removing these older versions and just keeping, say, the last 4 or 5 versions. You don't have to have everything there, but keeping all of that in play and using your version control, it can really help. And it gets that muscle memory of saving, because the other thing GarageBand iOS doesn't have, autosave. Yeah, you can do an hour's worth of work. I've done it. I've been there. I say this through experience. You can do an hour's worth of work and then forget to save. Your iPad or your iPhone crashes. You lost everything. Congratulations, you lost everything. And remember to save here in GarageBand. When you've got an open project, you just close it. So every time you close, every time you go back by tapping in the top left there, it'll save out your project and then it'll come back. Keep in mind, the other thing to keep in mind, you lose your undo history. So that's the other thing. When people save, someone's like, I saved it and then I went back and then I wanted to undo the last thing I did and it wouldn't work. Yeah, GarageBand iOS does not save your undo history. So do that cautiously. Go back. Psycho7 said exactly the same thing here. That's why if you combine these two things, if you combine version control and frequent saving, you're going to be golden. If you don't do both of those things, then yeah, you can have the problem that Psycho7's saying right here. Really essential for GarageBand, any app that auto saves without asking to make duplicates at important points. Yeah, exactly. It's a trap for young players. I've fallen into the trap many times, and it's not a fun one when you get caught in that trap and you can't get out. Because I love you too much, baby. No. All right. Cool. That's that. Let's jump into that question. Here, you wish there was a redo button. Have I got some news for you? There is. Do you want me to show you? Yeah. You do, don't you? There is a redo button. It's just hidden. So let's just play around with this. So if we wanted to come in here, let's just say that we did something here. We recorded a new track here, audio recorder. Yep, turn on the monitoring. I don't have a mic plugged in, so it's not going to do anything. But we'll just go record, 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 record. That recording was shite. I don't want to keep that recording in there. Let's undo it. So there's the recording down there. Let's undo it. Actually, I've changed my mind. That was the best recording I've ever done. Tap and hold. Bingo. Redo recording. So yeah, you can undo and redo. So there you go. Double bonus tip. So you got 3 things today. Autosave. Make sure you're saving frequently. Use your version control. And you can redo as well as undo. Who knew? So good. Yeah, see, this is why it's good when we've got a community around us and folks asking the questions that you may not know. And sometimes there is a way to do things. Hurrah! All right, let's crack on, shall we, to our remix. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to play this clip. So it's around about 10 minutes, but I want to rewatch it myself. So yes, I'm being super selfish and slightly lazy, but I want to watch this myself because it's 2018, Pete, and was carrying about 10 kgs of less COVID weight. But we can take a look at this, and we'll be able to see and reminisce about what I was doing back in the day, back in 2018, as I created this song. So you saw the project there before of For the Birds, which we were playing around with. This is the creation thereof. So if I share the screen here, I put together a highlights package. So in the month, there were, I think, 20 videos I did, and I basically took like a minute from each one. You'll see as we go through, it'll have the date stamped at the bottom, and you'll be able to follow it through as we go. So without further ado, let's sit back and watch this. Welcome to GarageBand Weekly Theatre. This is the Song in a Month Challenge For the Birds from March 2018. In the month of March 2018, I'm going to create, mix, master, finish, release an entire new song. So what I've decided to do is write a song called For the Birds. This could be exactly what this song ends up like. This could be nothing what this song ends up like. Today, I spent some time adding some instruments, and I've got to tell you, I'm not 100% happy with the direction this song is going. The way I write my songs, and this is the embarrassing part, is I don't have words yet. You are getting a glimpse into what I do behind closed doors. Hopefully it gives you the confidence to say, hey, I do that sort of stuff too. I don't have any guitars in this song yet, and I have to fix that in a big, bad way. So let's put in our lead guitar part now. Okay, bass guitar is in tune. It's also shamefully dusty. What I've realised is that I wanted to write a jazzy, big bandy song, and then what I've just done today is recorded guitars that are basically the sort of guitars I record on any other song. I promise that tomorrow I will actually get to some additional vocals. Bass guitar here I've left in this simple bass. Goodbye, complicated bass. It was nice knowing you. I've just put monitor on so I can hear my own voice. It's for the birds. It's for the birds. What I'm going to be doing today, I've shifted a little bit from what I was planning to do. Okay, so everything was wrong. We're getting there with this song. Today was a bit of a slower day. I'm in the lyric writing phase of this song. The song is loaded up on my phone here. I'll be listening to the song. I'll be noting down some lyrics as we go. Creating music and, in this case, videos and exercise come together. A verse, another verse, and a bridge. And a motorbike. Better than the other people. Oh, I ran out of voice and oh my god, you can hear the croakiness. Pretending that you are much better than the other people. It's for the birds. birds. In this episode, I'm going to be taking you through what we have written so far. But it seems that yours is stuck in 1982. Every time I think about the things you say are true, just listen up and say it's for the birds. Let's jump in and start recording some guitars. Let's go. So we're ready to go. I've got my clean combo there. Headphones that I need to put on my face. We ran into a few hurdles here. We had a few takes and mistakes. We have our guitars. We have our song written. We need some drums. Whatever happened to that? Dubba dubba. I don't actually mind that. Hey, throw an extra fill in the middle there. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that, actually. Okay, now there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of ways to record an acoustic guitar, and I'm going to set this sucker up in front of where I'm going to record my acoustic guitar. I can hear that coming through, and we're ready to go. So let's hit record. One more time with feeling. Okay, that was better. We are close to getting all the instrumental stuff done, and then we're going to move on and record some nice vocals. So I'm going to play you the opening now so that you can see what it's sounding like here. It doesn't end here. We've still got a week left in this challenge. We need to get serious and start recording some vocals here, or we're going to run out of time. So I'm going to set up now and start recording. Let's go. Here's how I normally set up my microphone. We're plugged in and we'll get ourselves set up and start recording. And if you open up your eyes and just for the birds. Check 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. Very hot in here. I've been singing for over an hour now, and all of my batteries of my cameras and everything is running low. I'm going to be doing a static mix. That is a rough mix with no automation, but just to get all of my levels right. Okay, here we are back in our mix here of... The next thing we did is I recorded some new vocals. And I know that there are differing priorities. Everything I think is balanced up pretty nicely here. And I know that there are differing priorities. And if you open up your eyes, rejecting others for the way that they decide to live their lives. I'm listening to my current mix, and I've done that in the car, I've done that on my home stereo, and now I'm doing that on some earbuds. It gets me thinking about the different ways we choose. Hey, how you going? I'm back here. I've been listening to this song all day. Can you tell it's had a little bit of an effect on me? What we do need to focus on is these mix notes. So, for the bird. Yeah, so there it is. You can hear it's just poking out a bit too much. Turn it on first, tap another automation point, another automation point. Oh, move on. Without you and they'll say it's for the bird. So let's jump into the lead guitar now. It's for the bird. Yep, there it is, and that's where it needs to be at that volume. I'm going to ignore myself here because I don't actually agree with that. I kind of like that. Tink, 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 tink. It's for the birds. So here we are, we have the iPad back again, and we are about to do our final mastering tweak. We're not going to do a lot of work to master this, but there's a few things that we can do to make sure it's sounding right. So this is our opportunity to make any final EQ tweaks on the entire mix. One thing you always say is look out for yourself. This is going to be our final mastered version. Today, it is the end of the month and it is time to release this song. This is our final mix. We've got our EQ on there. We've got our peak limiter. It is ready for us to now send this over to my PC. And here is the latest version of this file. I also have my album cover. Give it a quick play. For the bird. Okay, so we are now done. And that is going to do it. Thank you to those who have been with me. We've completed, we've written, we've mixed, we've mastered, we've done an entire song here, and we've now released this song. And then I play the song, which you're going to hear in a moment because we're going to dive into the actual project that I created all the way back then. I've just got to remove my thing. There we go. So that was the process. It was weird. You could see me getting see how fresh I looked at the start of the month, and then at the end of the month, I look a bit like I look now. Like I was all like disheveled and unshaven, and I'm exhausted. But yeah, it was fun times because that was all created on GarageBand 2.2, I believe, back in 2018, and it was on my iPhone 6s Plus and my iPad Air 2. So we've upgraded significantly now. We've got the iPhone 12 Pro and we've got the iPad Pro 2020, but it's still very much the same. As you're going to see in a moment, GarageBand itself is pretty damn similar, isn't it? Yeah, there's not a whole lot different going on in here that we weren't able to do back then that we can do now. There's been a few little tweaks. I've added things like the ability to change your bars to time, to minutes and seconds finally. You got things like note labels in there. We got slightly better, AUV3 and audio unit support and things. But the vast majority of things are very similar. So let's dive into this project and see what we did back then, and if there anything that I would do differently. So we'll start at the top here, because you probably heard that there is this little bit that comes in the intro of this song. Now, for full disclosure, I remixed this song already one time and put it on my album, which was 2018. No, what year was that? Yeah, that was later in 2018. My Selfish Aware album. And I took off the start, basically. But the start was recorded near my house. There's a hall, and there was a band. There's a band that rehearses there. They still do it to this day. And I was walking past one day, and it's also by a bus stop. I was walking past, and I just heard them practicing. And I just grabbed my iPhone, again, iPhone 6s Plus, and I hit record on the voice recorder, and I recorded this sound. And it was them playing this piece. And if you know this piece, let me know. Someone told me at some stage, I've forgotten what it is now, but it sounds like this. And then I use automation to fade it out there. So and that was a bus coming at the very end there. So that's what you can hear at the end of that one. That was the bus coming along there. So this is across 3 different tracks. Now I've got to remember, because this is called intro left, intro right, and intro effect. So I've got to remember what I did here and why. So on the left here, and you can see that it goes in and out a little bit. So I was doing some sort of the subtle stereo panning there, wasn't I? Look at that. So if we listen to this one that's just on the left here, the reason it's going down in volume in parts is because each passage, it swaps the side slightly. See how it's doing that? If we bring these two in together, you'll hear it a little bit more. So it's very subtle because I didn't do it a lot, but it kind of just brings the mix, and I was basically just slightly moving it from left to right. I don't even do this sort of stuff anymore. This is kind of cool. So there it's over on the right a bit more, and then it'll swap and go to the left. Hello, Ben from West Virginia. G'day to you. Hello, Princess LDG. And so it's swapping. So if you've not tried that before, if you've ever been wondering, hey, you can only automate volume in GarageBand, well, you can automate panning too. You just have to use the same audio on 2 tracks and pan it left, right. Like basically you're increasing and decreasing the volume on the left and increasing and decreasing the volume on the right. And those things, if we zoom in a bit here, you'll see that the changes there kind of match up. In fact, if we go into automation here, you'll see it a lot clearer. There. So you can see here that when it goes up on one side, it goes down on the other. And if you wanted this to be like super different, you could actually do it more like this, like actually reduce it significantly and then reduce it significantly there. So if we play that bit, you'll hear it'll be a lot more of an effect. Goes all the way to the left, all the way to the right. See what I mean? So yeah, you can go and do a little bit more than what I was doing there, but I wanted it to be more subtle. Oh, now I've forgotten where I put it. about there. So we'll come out of there. Now, the effect one in the middle, I've got to see, why did I have a separate track for this effect? What is this doing? Let's find out, shall we? There's only one way to find out. Okay, so I wanted like some delay on there, but I didn't want that to be on the stereo panning. So if we come in here, it looks like I've used, yeah, I've just put the tape delay on this one. So this one looks like it's using the, oh yeah, the echo tape. So there you go. So I wanted like a tape delay style thing on there, but I only wanted on one channel. So, and again, that's, as Mark's saying here, that's the same trick to automate effects like reverb. Totally. Yeah, if you want to automate effects, you can do that. I quite often do this, well, I did it in the past, don't do it much these days, where I actually have an effects track that's separate to my actual track. And if you're using an effect like reverb or things, you can even do that separately. So you can just have a separate wet track that's just your effects. It doesn't even have the original audio. And if you want to learn about that, yeah, search Automate Effects. Pete John's Automate Effects on YouTube. You'll find how to do that. So what I then did is I actually added in, so the drums that came along with this, I just programmed in here to go along with the... So I just created some like little like jazzy swingy drums to go along with this little intro part, which I thought was cool. So that was the intro there. Then I created this song. So you would have heard in the video that I showed before, there were, at the start, it kind of had, it had this kind of beat. So I had Isabella in here, which I left in here, I think. It was going to be like do 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 do. Didn't work out that way. It kind of became more of a rock song as we created it, but it was built around, because I used to create by basically grabbing my phone and then going for a walk and playing around with the virtual instruments. So the original melodies that I created here, which you're going to hear on the piano and the bassoon and other things, I created while I was walking around. So this was kind of the crux of it. So there's our bassoon. Some of these are underrated, these GarageBand sounds. So I wanted like a pad, simple 3-chord pad there. Brought in some cello. Interesting chord, right? Don't know what that is. It's like a diminished chord or something. I'm not good with my theory. Then brought in the double bass for that low down. So I think the reason that this song kind of was cool and became kind of catchy was that it's a guitar-based rock song, but because it started as more of a traditional instrumental style song, it kind of became both. And I think it kind of gives it that depth that you get throughout, because it's got a lot going on, which kind of works for it. So the piano then. And here's the thing. Here's the cheat that I did with the piano. Again, because I was just saying I recorded this on my phone back in the day, I used the I think I used the chords mode. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, so I use these chords, and I just put in, and this is why. So you can use the chords mode here to find chords that you wouldn't necessarily play, and I think I messed around with that to try and get that kind of vibe in there. Yeah, so it's if you're not a keyboard player, you don't really have to be. You can use the chords mode here in GarageBand. It's kind of cool. Now, so the other thing was, originally, like, you would have heard that the melody was carried by those other instruments, whereas eventually when I came here and like, right, let's record those guitars that you saw me record, that is where I actually wanted to record the melody and the parts using guitars. So it looks like we've used undo. Oh, that's right, you can't undo volume. Bugger. don't know where that volume was at. Anyway, so I used some standard guitars here. This one is the standard GarageBand clean combo, which I then tweaked a little bit. As you can see there, I'd customized some of the settings. You can tell I've customized it because it's got the little dot there that shows the customization. And that was doing this business. And I still think to this very day, like they haven't done a lot with these guitar amps over time, but I still think that they sound pretty darn good. I know that, there's tone bridge and there's bias and there's a heap of different ones, but the original GarageBand amp sims, I think that's my Sunshine. That's like my favorite one, is it? Oh, rich harmonics. Okay. So that's the melody that was originally being done by like the do 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 do, like a clarinet or something. Then got the bass in here. Which again is just the bass amp sim there. And you saw, if you watched that video, if you've been watching this stream, earlier in the video, earlier in the production, I made the bass go like doom 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 doom, and that's probably one of the biggest tips out of this thing, is that when you got something that's got complex counter rhythms and a lot of treble and mid-range instruments, your bass should probably be pretty simple. And I got myself into trouble by trying to do too much with the bass. It seems that the best songs I've written and recorded are where the bass is the simple. Occasionally you can get your flea on and do a little bit of slapping, a little bit of interesting stuff, but more often than not you want things to be a little bit simpler. The acoustic guitars. And you might have seen there that when I was recording these, that it had the two things recording at once. This is how I still use this to this day. So not a lot has changed, to be honest. I'm talking about remixing. Not a lot has changed with this song because I do a lot of the same things to this day. But with the guitars there, you can see that this one's the mic. So this was that MXL 550 mic that I was using at the time, that red one, which I've since donated. I gave that to my wife's cousin because he's got into recording stuff. And this one was the direct line in. So using these both together can actually give you a quite nice guitar sound if you're not going to do like a doubled guitar or a stereo guitar. So the mic'd up guitar sounds like this, which for some reason, I've panned that all the way left. Does that mean I've panned this one all the way right? Oh, okay. That's an interesting strategy, Johns. I used the line guitar all the way on the right. And why is this one louder than that one? Well, we'll take a look at that in a moment, because it's going to be really heavy to the right, isn't it? But it's not actually getting that loud, even though it looks loud there. I must have done did I do some changes here? No, I haven't changed the gain there. Must have done some processing on here that reduced the overall volume, I'd say. Have I done something to the EQ? Nope. I used it very simple way back then. Maybe this one's got a lot more compression. Nope. Yeah, so that was a weird choice. I'd probably balance those out. When we go faders down in a moment, we'll play with that in a minute. Princess LDG, I'll add your question to. I've got a list of questions we're going to jump to at the end of the stream. So we'll get to those afterwards. The only other thing that I spent a lot of time on there, and someone said, yeah, Logan's going a bit intense there with this one, is I did quite a bit of crafting of the drummer here with Logan. So I had him on the toms there, and I do like this with drummers. If you're trying to get that little start, you can actually just pull off a little clip and just play around with it until you get something cool. And I actually really like the... But he is a little bit heavy-handed, so maybe we'll address that when we come back into this in a moment. We'll have a little bit, because we haven't done any EQing on here, because I tended to not do a lot of EQing and compressing of virtual instruments. But yeah, we might want to play around with that and maybe just ease off, because it is hitting a little bit hard in those sections. The other thing we could do, we probably won't have time to do today, is convert the drummer track into individual drums, which I have a video here on the channel that shows you how to do that. If you've got a drummer track and you really want to get that that custom feel and split it out, you can do that. You can split it out into your kick and your snare and all your other drums, because you can convert it to a regular drum track. It's pretty cool. And if you're interested in that, just search around the channel and you'll find it. The only other thing we've got is the vocals. And why are there so many vocal tracks? Well, yeah, it's because this is my lead vocal that we actually had soloed here, which we can put back in here. We had, actually, were all of these supposed to be in there? We'll just turn them all back on. I can't remember. So we've got a bunch of backing vocals that came in here sort of towards the end. So we've got background vocals here. And because every time in GarageBand you want to pan something somewhere differently, you have to have a different track. So that's why we had sort of, vocal, the birds on the left, and then the quarter delay here was that delay in the last note. So let's just listen to all these backing vocals as we come in to the end, because I spent a lot of time back then crafting and recording vocals. Probably something I should be doing more of today. Let's take a listen.
It's for the birds. It's for the birds.
That's interesting.
It's for the birds. It's for the birds.
I didn't even see. This is the thing. I love going back into these projects because I don't even remember this. Like these la 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 la's at the end, do not remember at all. Didn't even know that they were in the song, because you don't really hear stuff like that until you dive in and take a listen. So and you can see they were recorded really quiet. Princess LGD. You mentioned this in some of your recordings, that in GarageBand, when you sing softly, sometimes you get stuff like this. This just proves that it really doesn't matter, because it's definitely there. You can hear it, right? But it often doesn't show up as a waveform. Still sounds fine because it's digital. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, now what I would do is probably get a little bit closer and turn it up a little bit. That would be cool to use as a remix, I know. So maybe we start with that. Maybe we start with a la 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 la. Let's play with that. We'll have a little bit of a play around later. All right, let's come back and take a look and a listen at all of it now. So all together here, if I've brought all these tracks back in here, because yeah, maybe we'll do a simplified remix of this. That could be fun. But we'll just come here to this sort of like final chorus and just listen to everything together.
Pretending that you are much better than the other people, finding fault in things that don't align with what you want to hear, believing everything that you were told when you were growing up. After all, your happiness is all that matters in the end. Rejecting others for the way that they decide to live their lives, denying every single fact you know that deep down is the truth. Intimidated, sad and scared is the reason for your pain. And now it's time to start again. It's for the birds.
There you go, the big delayed finish. Yeah, there's definitely GarageBand track gnomes that come in and add things to your track that you never knew you had. And some of the other things, so some of the interesting techniques you would have seen here using this one. So you can see I've got the quarter note delay, which I only wanted on that last birds. So this is where, again, you splitting out to add effects can really work. So you can see, here's the final bit.
It's for the birds. It's for the birds.
So because these tracks have, I think, eighth note delay, do they? Is that what I've added to these ones? Reverb, track echo. Oh no, they've got quarter note delay as well. So why do they have a separate... because I wanted the repeat to be down. Okay, so that's different. So these ones had it sort of repeating, and this one, I turned the repeat down and the dryness down, so you just got more of that sound, the quarter note delay coming at the end. Otherwise, it would have just gone brr, 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 brr.
It's for the birds.
Yeah, I remember playing around with that. I remember that took far too long to actually get the way I want it to, right at the end there. Yeah, that's the Vox. That's the track. That's what we've got there. What would I do differently if I was just redoing this track now? To be honest, not a lot. It's pretty cool. I would probably, in fact, let's just play with the drums a little bit, because I think they're a little bit too intense. I think someone was saying Logan was hitting it a bit hard. So I'd probably I'd probably get a little bit more reverb on the drums, and maybe even add that quarter note delay that we have on everything else to these drums. Would that do it for us? Just a little bit of like, not that much. Maybe just like 5% on that. What about this compression? No, the compressor wasn't even kicking in. And what would we do on the EQ? Would we do anything here? Give it a little bit more thump in the low end.
Nobody else is gonna keep you safe and make you satisfied. And there's something that I just can't come to terms.
Yeah, I think what we do is we go, let's try this. Let's go faders down, shall we? Oh, this is going to be a tough one to go faders down because there's so much automation on some of these vocals. Should have thought about this. Should have gone a different song. But let's we'll do a very basic version here because we've got some questions to answer as well. But let's just see if we can do some interesting kind of remixing here. I like the idea. I like Tom's idea of grabbing those the la la las that we were finding before and bringing those in here. So maybe we just do that, and instead of using our volume, we can just solo in the tracks that we want. So let's grab these la la las that we had, that we were our background vocals towards the end, and well, that's not them. I think they come in right at the end here, don't they? And down here. Not the greatest looping there, but if we bring it into something else, it might sound okay. So let's just grab these, because, by the way, if you want to multi-select here in GarageBand, you can tap and hold and drag over, and then you can tap and tap again and hit your copy. So let's just, we'll do this right at the start here, where we come in, which I've got to find where it's, I think it's bar 17 there. So let's just bring this in and paste it in there at bar 17, and we'll just we'll paste it a few times there to loop it out. We'll do a little loop of this stuff here just to have some fun with this, because music should be fun. Say it with me, people. Music should be fun. So is this gonna? Let's bring the piano in with that. Yeah, I kind of like that, going with it here. Let's bring back that original Isabella percussion that we canned over here. Like, what was this doing? Like something like this. Yeah, let's use this one, because that's going to be a cool kind of sound. Let's just make ourselves a weird For the Birds loop track here, just for some fun. We'll paste that one in there. So let's see, we'll start like this. I like it. Let's just bring the lead vocal in there. So that's a different way to have an intro to this song. It almost needs like a big 808 kick. Should we just go stupid and put an 808 kick on here? I'm gonna have to get rid of a track so I can create some room. Let's lose these parts because we won't need them. Actually, let's make sure we're not saving this over our original project. No, we did. I created my own version. I took my own advice and created another version there. So let's just get rid of these, and let's just make this a little bit fun. We could almost like have an effects and put some drops in here and like make it like bit of fun. So we're starting there. We need like a beat sequencer kit, don't we? Just pause it there for a moment. We won't go the full on 8. What about? Can we look like? But no. Come on, that's gonna be all the fun. Let's just try this. We'll take Isabella off afterwards because she probably won't work with this. But let's just record in this like little group. Oh, I don't mind it at all. That's a lot of fun. Do we? I think we just leave the guitars out of this, don't we? There's some organ, isn't there? There's some cool organ that comes in at some stage. Where did I put that? That's over here. Maybe let's bring this organ and see if that works back here in the same slot. I don't know because it might be playing a slightly different part. I like it. So let's bring our lead vocal back into this, like just a very simplified version of the lead vocal that's coming there. And we'll just try and mix this up a little bit. Come on. And yes, we will crank the organ part. Let's get our Lars up a bit.
The pain you worry about today, just leave.
Come on.
Behind. Just listen up and say it's for the birds. It's for the birds. It's for the birds. It's for the birds. One thing you always say is look out for yourself.
Oh, that kind of works, doesn't it? Oh man, I'm having too much fun. Let's just go back and give it one more listen. I'm not going to finish this song, but I think it just shows you that you got some power here in GarageBand, don't you, to play around with stuff and just do different things. So I liked it. I like the organ coming in there. It doesn't really work that well with the what about these? Let's bring this electric piano back in, shall we? Because that'll sound cool underneath there. All right, let's Oh, you know what we should do? We should bring these arps down here. Oh, no, we don't have time. We don't have time. We could be doing all sorts of things, but let's do it. Yeah, it's for the birds.
Every time I think about the things you say are true, it gets me thinking about the different ways we choose to spend our time. And I know that there are different priorities, but it seems that yours is most between 82 and it's for the birds.
Oh man, you could do some fun stuff with the effects here. Someone was saying a filter suite might be good in there. So I reckon to start with it and like do a. Oh. How about this? Start with that AM radio. You need to sweep it faster, don't we? Oh. 2.
Things you do. It gets me thinking about the different ways we shine. And I know that there are different, but it seems that yours is stuck in 1982 and all the pain. You worry about the day, just leave behind. Just listen up and serve.
It's for the birds.
It's for the...
Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna stop it out. I'm sorry. I hope that you enjoyed that. So yeah, GarageBand for the win. Good times, good fun. Yeah, you saw something special here today. You saw me just make an ass of myself, but I do it because it's fun. Right. Thank you. New exercise song. DJs are gonna be on. All right, let's bring things fun. Yeah, I know the digitizer sounds good. There's a lot of cool things there. And again, sometimes just having fun. Just do it. Have fun. Ideas can come out of it. We did have a couple of questions, and I'm going to circle back to. So let's answer those. We've already talked about halftime in GarageBand. So yeah, the easiest way with your drummers in GarageBand is really easy because you've got your different patterns over here. Oh, that's not the right one. We wanted the regular drummer. Where's our regular drummer at? Where do we stick him? Logan, Logan's out the back smoking bongs. No, not true. Logan's a good dude. He does good things. Hang on. The selected drum arrangement was created during live. It was? Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, so you can come in here and you've got your hi-hat. See, the kick and snare's got the follow on here, but if you change that, your kick and snare, so you got a half time down there, and then you got a 2 times there. So if you go to like the 2 times, it'll make them go twice, and half time makes them go half. Can I recommend a good microphone? So I saw folks talking about microphones and mic recommendations. What I always say to that is go to the gear guide, studiolivetoday.com/gear, which I don't seem to have a thing to click up here at the moment. There it is, studiolivetoday.com/gear. There's a whole heap over there. If we come back over to my screen here, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if we go studiolivetoday.com/gear, there it is. Here's one I prepared earlier. There's all the different stuff I have up here, all my different setups. But if you go down, you got the master list there, but then I also separate it out. So here's my microphones, and you can see I've got quite a few different ones that I recommend, depending what you want. My recommendations right now for a condenser, I'd go this. That's what I'm using currently, the Audio-Technica AT2020, about $100 microphone, very nice condenser. And the one that I recorded, in fact, I've had it so long, you saw me recording with this microphone on that song. If you're recording louder vocals, I'd go with something like this, the AKG D5. It's just a really good, got good noise rejection, excellent sound quality, but it will be a bit quieter. So if you've got sort of quieter vocals or quieter sounds, I'd go with something like the Audio-Technica AT2020. Got a louder vocal, grab something like that one, or even like a Shure SM58 or SM57 will also do the job nicely there. What other questions did we have? If I can do a cover song for Things Change, where can I find the chords? Things Change. Now, I did Things Change and Things Have Changed are 2 different songs, and yeah, of course you can do a cover. Is that, I think you play piano, so you'd probably want Things Change. Did I create that in GarageBand iOS? Let's find out. I think I did. So you know what you could do is just email me and I'll give you the project. That'd be one way to do it, because I can't remember what the chords were. I think it's this one. It's a very simple project. Things Change. Because, yeah, I just make everything I do available for everyone, because why not? So, yeah, there's my original piano part. We'll be able to work out what the chords are by just going into this, I'd say. Oh, no, that's Things... Oh, okay. So this one. So this one, what were they? I think it's as simple as C, F, G, A minor. I think it's literally in C major. Things change. So yeah, short version is, yeah, happy to share that. Just hit me up on email and let me know which one you want, and I'll just either give you the project or I'll just tell you the chords. In fact, I might even have it in my, let me just check before we finish up, because we are going to finish in about 1 minute. Let me just check my OneNote document, because I may have even just stuck them in there and I can just tell you straight up, because sometimes I document things well, sometimes not so well. Let me just check this one. Things change. Yeah, it's exactly that. Where are we? I'll bring it on over here. So you can just grab a capture of this. This is my original document for Things Change. So it is D minor 7 and A minor as the opening. And then the chorus is C, F, A minor 7, F, G. That's it. Whole song. So done. Just take a snapshot of that one and you'll be good to go. But yeah, of course. If you don't know, if you're newer to the channel and you're newer to the things that we do around here, I don't really believe in copyright. It sounds a bit weird, but I just open up all my stuff. So if anyone ever wants to cover anything, if you ever want copies of anything, if you want to remix something, Joey Helpish actually remixed that. So he remixed my whole album. In fact, why don't we go out with, we've got Rock and Ronnie Ward coming up soon, but why don't we go out with the Joey Helpish remix of that song? Because he actually did a really cool remix, and I should be able to find it here on the YouTube. He did a whole album remixing my whole album, which is pretty cool. For the Birds, there it is, For the Birds, Helpish remix, which we'll go with over here. So thank you. My middle name used to be Copyright, really? Yeah, D minor 7's beautiful. Beautiful indeed. Yeah, thanks for hanging out here. We've got Rock and Ronnie Ward coming up in just a moment. Are you on USB or user interface? I'm using a mixer. Go to that gear guide, studiolivetoday.com/gear. There's a gear review video that I went through very recently. You'll be able to check that one out. Yeah, the AT2020 is a great little piece of kit. And hello, anyone I haven't said g'day to, by the way, if I've missed you, hello to you. But yeah, I think this would be a cool way to go out on the show here. Now, I'll put a link to Rock and Ronnie Ward in there in just a moment, but take a gander, take a look and a listen at this one. This is again released by Distro Kid, so he actually put it all out there. This is Joey Helpish's remix of For the Birds, and I think you're gonna dig it. Thanks everyone for hanging out here on GarageBand Weekly. I'll catch you next time around. Bye for now.
Every time I think about the things you say are true, it gets me thinking about the different ways we choose to spend our time. And I know that there are differing priorities, but it seems that yours is stuck in 1982. And all the pain you worry about today, just leave behind. Just listen up and say it's for the birds. Keep you safe and make you satisfied, and there's something that I just can't come to terms with, so you can keep yourself protected from society and all.
Very cool stuff, yeah. That was Joey Helpish and his remix. You can catch all of those over on Joey's channel. I didn't realize that Jade Starr is actually live with Rock and Ronnie Ward. Look at that! You can jump on over there right now. We'll do a quick live look in.
Video from your show yesterday. Hello, Mrs. Toast.
Jade always has fun on other people's channels. She likes to come in and just cause mayhem. So there's a link to that there in the chat here now. So go over and check out Rock and Ronnie Ward. And I'll see you next time, folks. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and bye for now.